Welcome back to Almost Above Average. I am Chris McIntyre, and today we had the very first ever guest that was on Almost Above Average, author Felicia Covington. And she had her second book had just come out. So I had read it recently, and we've been trying to get the podcast together so we could talk about it, and we finally got together. So I'm excited to bring you that. But for the people that haven't met Felicia or heard the first episode, we went back through her story, and I asked her to tell it again a little bit, just briefly, and then we went into her first book, Superseded the Odds, and we touched on that a little bit, and then we talked about the new book and plans for the future and stuff that we're going to do together. So I hope you guys are ready. You can get the book on Amazon right now, Unforeseen Consequences. Get ready for Felicia Covington.
It's been busy today.
Yeah, why are you working on a Saturday?
No, I'm organizing a sip and paint.
A what?
Sip and paint.
Oh, okay.
But we have soda, okay?
I was gonna say, I mean, that's a
We got soda and like little finger stuff, like cheese and crackers and stuff like that. Yeah. So
that's a really good idea. No, I've never heard of that.
So me and some of the residents, I organize it because they don't really have anything to do, and I like doing stuff like that anyway.
Right.
So I said, guys, let's do a sip and paint because last weekend we did a movie thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing a sip and paint today.
Oh, that's awesome. You doing it after this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How are you feeling? You were sick last time we talked.
Me and I have a viral upper respiratory infection.
I don't even know what that is.
Basically, it's either they said I probably got it from the pollen or someone at my job.
Oh, the pollen has made everyone at my house sick too. My father-in-law, he's all congested. He's been sick all week.
And that's how I was. I was out of work since Wednesday.
You were? Oh my gosh. But you're doing better today?
Better today, but that crap is still, that cough that I have is so hard and dry. But the flaming crap is coming up, but
yeah. Well, if it gets tough and you need to stop talking, just let me know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Look, don't even mention it. Don't mention it, Chris. Don't mention it.
I won't. Well, I'm glad you're back. What I kind of wanted to do, you were the very first guest that I've ever had on my podcast. So it's great to have you back on. But, a lot has changed over the last, year, especially with the podcast, and it's grown a lot. So there's a lot of new followers and new subscribers on Spotify and YouTube. So if you don't mind, you want to just kind of give your story again. You don't have to go into great detail. What I'd like to do is maybe give your story, a brief story about where you came from, how you came up. And then I wanted to kind of touch a little bit on your first book, Superseded the Odds, from our first interview. Maybe just talk a little bit about that. And then we'll jump into to the new one. We'll start talking about the new one, right? Author Felicia Covington. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. All right. So, I know who you are, and a lot of people that already listen to the podcast know who you are. But for the new listeners and new subscribers, who is Felicia Covington?
Felicia Covington is a.k.a. Renee Covington.
Renee?
I was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina. There, it was like Durham was. It's a good city. But growing up, you had to know how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, I stayed in a lot of fights. Being the last of four, I have two brothers and a sister, and I'm the baby of the family. So therefore, I was the smallest. So I got picked on a lot. So growing up in Durham, you got to know how to fight. High school, junior high school was where I think I did the most of my. Well, I'm not going to say fighting, but the most that I always had to defend myself.
Yeah.
So, but in high school was like, I guess everybody knew me in middle school and junior high. So high school was like a breeze.
Were you a fighter in middle school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really had to fight because I was bullied in middle school. Mm-hmm. I was bullied because I was the smallest, because I didn't fit in with the crowd, because I wasn't the girly looking types. They would bully me a lot.
Yeah.
So I had to fight a lot.
Yeah.
Growing up in a single home, parent, my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother raised us while my mom worked. My grandmother was a 7-day Adventist, and she was a Blackfoot Indian. Therefore, she was harder than hard.
Yeah. She was a American Indian or a Native American
Native
and
American.
black.
She was a Blackfoot.
Okay.
And she did not play. She did not play. And being a 7-day Adventist, that's even worse. But we grew up in a loving home, no violence, no craziness, no drug abuse. No, we had like alcoholism on my side of the family, on my mom's side and my father's side, my biological father's side, but nothing else. But we was never around it. We was never like in the midst of it. None of that. It was a loving, caring home. But I strayed. I was the one.
How did you get introduced to drugs and alcohol? If you grew up in a home, a nice. It sounds like you grew up with a nice family home. Your mom and your grandma, they didn't do drugs or drink, right?
Nope.
So where did you get access to it?
A little boyfriend.
Of course.
A boyfriend. But how I really got introduced with it is like what I introduced. Like I was a struggling parent. I was 26 years old, had my daughter, and I was struggling. So my friend of mine, she introduced me to somebody that she knew that dabbled in it, that sold it. So I'm like, I can make some quick money real fast. I didn't know nothing about drugs. I was just dumbfounded, just didn't know anything about drugs. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I can do this. And so she introduced me, and I started selling powder.
At 26 years old?
At 26.
Man, okay. You got in late.
Wait, I had everything late. I was just late, period.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the time when I was doing it, I had so much accumulated, so much that a 26-year-old wouldn't have. And I sat back and I'm like, wow, my daughter didn't want me for nothing. But then I ran into this person who I thought that cared about me. Didn't know nothing about he was using anything. He started like taking stuff.
10 toes in when we standing on business. I'm Mr. Body Catcher, Slaughter Gangster.
Visit buckedup.com today and use code McMedia1 at checkout for exclusive deals on all fitness products at buckedup.com.
Out of my stash and talking about he was selling it and he wasn't. I found out he wasn't. He was using it, but I didn't know. Then one day it happened where he was with somebody and they was using, and I found it and I seen him, and he was like, "Try it," and I'm like, "No."
So you were selling it, but you weren't using it.
Nope.
That's crazy. Like, because I'm a drug addict. If I handle any kind of drugs, I want to put them in my face.
But see, that's the thing. I was so naive to drugs. I never knew what. Like I knew what marijuana was. I knew what pills were. But when it came to like cocaine and stuff like that, I didn't have a clue.
Especially with your parents, you grew up with your grandma and your mom. They didn't have drugs or alcohol in the house.
Right.
So cocaine's brand new.
So, I mean, I was selling it at work and with my friends. And I'm like, why do these people keep buying this stuff like this? I ain't know. I'm just like making money. I ain't care.
Right.
But he told me, he'll try it. And I tried it. I'm like, this ain't that. But then I think the next day, it's like a craving hit me. And I'm like, what the world? But he was doing it again. So this is when it started. I was off to the races. I got so involved in it. I mean, my daughter was 5 at the time. I'm like, man, it was a roller coaster ride. I was homeless. We was homeless. We stayed in a transitional house in Durham.
You and your daughter?
Yeah. I mean, my God, they saved me because we was out there homeless because I didn't want to go to my mom's. Nope. Didn't want to do that.
Right.
And because I couldn't do it. I was too embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was too embarrassed. And I didn't want her to know exactly what I was doing. But eventually, Chris, I told her. And when I told her, that lady tried to choke me to death. I physically had to take my mama's hands off my neck because she was trying to choke me because she couldn't believe what I was doing. She couldn't believe it. But after that, I'm skipping around. She found out we went to transitional housing. I started like something was wrong. But when I kept trying to figure out what was going on, I was still, I was in that cycle. But I would stop. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, something's wrong. Something's not right. I wasn't raised this way. What's going on with me? So then that's when I first went to treatment. when my mom worked at Duke. It what was it? It was the West Wing at Duke University. And I
Mm-hmm.
told my mom I was going, and she was like, I was embarrassed to go because she worked at Duke. She started working at Duke when she was 18. So everybody at Duke knew my mom. And I'm like, I was embarrassed to go because I didn't want anybody to know that her daughter was there. And
Right.
she was like, why you being embarrassed? She said, they knew you was out here using drugs. Why can't they know that you're in there trying to recover? I'm like, okay. And so I started going there, and that was my first time ever going to treatment. But it was like a vacation. It was like a vacation because for the simple fact, those people, I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I was introduced to. I didn't know what to do. I was just there like detoxing. That's all I
Yeah.
was doing. Eating lunch and eating dinner and watching TV and
Kind of laying around.
yeah, and that's it.
Yep.
But as time went on, I started to pick my cycle back up. But this time I got involved with some more shady characters. It got a little shadier.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I got involved with a drug dealer. Got involved with him as a boyfriend. And it became a domestic violence relationship. And I was in there for like 7 years. And my addiction was off the chain because number one, I would stay high because all the stuff that he was doing and whatnot. So that was my escape. And not just that, he was feeding me the drugs too.
Yeah.
He was feeding me the drugs. That was his way of controlling me to keep me submissive.
Yep. Keep you
And,
numb.
It got to a point where I was going, but at the same time, when I was with him during this relationship, I went to treatment once. He allowed me to go to treatment. And I went there and I came back. I think I stayed clean for about like
A month after you got out.
a month after I got out. And then I was right back on it. But this time when I got back on it, I started to traffic. Started doing that. And
Keeps getting worse and worse and worse, huh?
right. I started trafficking, telling my mom I'm going to see my auntie M who lives in New York. She lives in New York. I didn't lie. Okay. But I started trafficking up and down the highway, leaving my daughter with my mom and stuff. But the thing was, it's like I would get money, but what did they do? Because I went right back to the drug dealer and gave him my money after he paid me to make these runs. I'm giving the money back, getting drugs.
Right.
But the domestic violence, the drugs, all of that, it came to a head one day when I left my boyfriend, and he didn't like that. So one day, I think it was like at night. I was working at IBM, and he came to my house. I had a restraining order. Everybody like, how can you stay in a domestic violence relationship and da 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 da? But look, it's not that easy. A lot of people say you can just walk away. It's not that easy because for the simple fact, one, you're so afraid that one, your self confidence is gone. Okay, that's gone. Your family members, your friends, they already got you secluded where you don't have any friends or their family. Okay, so that's cut off. You don't have no communication. That's cut off. And then going to like the police restraining order, that's like ink on a piece of paper. They don't care.
Right.
But it got to that point where I left him and I moved away, but he found me. And I was going to work and it was like, just leave me alone. Just go about your business. And that's when he went out and he took an iron pipe and crushed my face and my skull with it.
While you were at work?
No, I was at home. I was at home when he done all this. My daughter was at home because I was finna get ready to go to work. I was getting ready to go to work that morning. It was raining that morning. It was on April the 23rd. And I was getting ready to go to work. And I was like, oh, Barry, just leave me alone. And previously now, let me remind you, I had called them and told them 911 that I had a restraining order on him. And he was outside my door threatening me. Telling me he was going to blow the apartment up and all of this. And they told me to cut the lights off.
Huh.
And when I see him, call them back. Yeah, that's the
Yeah, it looked like that worked, huh?
But right. So I mean, when because I opened, I just guess I got so frustrated. I opened up the door, which I shouldn't have done, and I'm like, just leave me alone. And he had an iron pipe in his sleeve because he had on all black, and he slid it down in his hand. And the first strike that he hit, it cut me right across here, and I got like my little thingy right there, my little mark right there. I try to hide it because I'm still, but
Yeah.
anyway,
That's tough.
It picked me up. I mean, the force picked me up, Chris. When he struck me, it picked me up and threw me across the room, and I knocked out the little glass in the oven. And my thing was, get to your daughter. Get my daughter. She was 10 years old. I was like, my main focus was get to her. Don't let him get to her.
Loving Almost Above Average? Help us continue making a positive impact. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share your feedback or personal stories to mcmedia.network.llc@gmail.com. Your support means the world to us, and it keeps the engaging content coming. Thanks again.
So I'm crawling. He's just beating me in the head. Nowhere else, just in the head. And my daughter, I keep a 9-iron golf club in the house. And she had the golf club, and she hit him in the back of the head with it, and that made him turn around. But he was on so much drugs. He had so much drugs and stuff in his system that he turned around and he said, if you don't he said, I'll kill you like I kill your mama. I'll unalive you like I unalive your mama. So he thought I was dead already. But with that said, I just played dead. Like my grandma always told me, play possum, play possum. So I did that, and I seen him going out the door because I had my eyes kind of like just squinted open a little bit, and I seen him going out the door. And my daughter, she was cussing at first. 10 years old, man. This little girl, 10 years old. I told her, close the door, and I jumped up. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know my eye was hanging out. This eye was hanging out. I didn't know. Because when he cut me, that pipe they said it just sliced my face open and all that was hanging out. I didn't know. My daughter, she ran and got a towel and was putting some ice in it. And I told her, I said, baby, I ain't gonna work for this. And so I'm busy trying to call my mom. The phone was acting all crazy. And I finally called my mama first. I didn't call nobody but her first. And I told her what happened. And she said, hang up and call the police. And then I hung up and the phone started acting up again. And I finally called 911. They came, and the officers when they came, the 2 women officers, I must have looked so bad, Chris. They stood on the outside of the door or the threshold. They didn't come in. They didn't try to minister no type of first aid or nothing. So with that said, EMS came, got me. I kept going in and out of conscience, and I was mainly, where my daughter at? Where's Arjun? And they're like, she's right here. And I'm like, let her ride with me. Let her, let her get in here with me. They're like, no, she can't ride. She's too young. I'm like, y'all better let her. I'm just fussing with them back and forth.
Right.
I guess it was my adrenaline.
She's all I got. She's coming with me.
Right. And so they finally let her come in there, and she held my hand. I think I passed out, and I woke up, and I was in the emergency room, and I heard these people fussing and arguing and all these flashes. I'm like, because first I thought my mom was out there arguing. I thought it was her out there. And it was the reporters was trying to get through the doors. Some way, somehow, they heard what happened. So the nurse, who was my supervisor's wife, she heard them, and she was keeping them out of the room. And I had looked up Chris, and it was this little young guy. I ain't gonna never forget him, Chris. And I looked so bad. This little man, he was just shaking. He had the scissors, and he was just shaking. And I'm like, let me just go back to sleep. The child was shaking. And I heard the lady say, why you cut her clothes up like that? She got on the belt. And I said, Lord, I'm going back to sleep. And that's the last thing that I remember. Then I think I woke up like 7 days later.
Oh my God.
I was in a coma for 7 days. And they had to rebuild my face and skull with titanium. So all of this is titanium. But the back of my head is bone. But all of this is sheets.
Can you feel it?
Mm-hmm.
You do have feeling?
Yeah.
That's good.
You can feel some of the screws because some of them kind of like protruded because this eye, they could build up this side more than they built up this side because I kept flatlining. The last time I flatlined, they told my mom, come on in and identify me.
Jeez.
But about time she went back there, I had regained consciousness again. So it was wild. And I was in a coma for 7 days. And my twin, who's my Irish twin brother, Shelby, he stayed in that bed with me that whole time.
Man.
He told his wife that he wasn't going to leave that hospital until I left. And when I came out of my coma, that's the first face I seen. He's sitting right there. I'm like, what are you doing here?
That's awesome.
But
So
and
what happened in the aftermath of that? Is that seems like the biggest moment in your life almost like.
yeah.
So what happened afterwards after you got out of the hospital?
After that, we went to trial. He got like 20 years. He served 20 years.
Is he still in there now?
No, he's out. He's out. But I have what they call a lifetime restraining order.
Good.
With that said, he went through some stuff in there because he tried to commit suicide twice.
He did.
Yeah, he tried to commit suicide twice, but it didn't work. Then he got beat up in there down here in Central Prison. He got beat up real bad because people who knew me.
I can't believe he only went away for 20 years. Was it attempted murder?
Yes, he had an attempt charge.
Okay.
It was an attempt charge, assault on a female. And then he also got a charge for hitting my daughter, for striking my daughter. But that was like 6 months. He got added on.
How's your daughter doing after that? Does she have memories of? Yeah, she was 10 years old. Shit.
Yeah, and that's why, number one, I made sure I didn't care nothing about me. I made sure, Chris, that I sought her some therapy.
Yeah.
I made absolutely sure she got into therapy. She still acted out in some ways, like she became a little runaway kid, but that's being rebellious. But she had therapy, and today she thinks she's my protector, like she thought she was my protector back when
I was gonna say, I think that would bring you guys really close. I imagine you guys are probably pretty tight.
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, I can't do anything. What you doing? Who you talking to? Who is this? I'm like, okay.
Right.
If somebody we're together and somebody like a guy might try to hit on me, she'll jump up like, this my mama.
Yeah.
Who are you? I said, Arthur, you gotta stop doing that, baby. You
I love
gotta
that.
really stop doing that.
Yeah.
But she's very overprotective. She's so bad. She's got my grandson doing it.
Yeah. How old is she now?
She'll be 38 next month, and he's 17.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
That's your favorite grandson, right? Am I supposed to say that?
honey, they something. Them grandkids, woo!
Yeah.
Wait till yours get big.
I know. They're getting there. I love it. I have my other two granddaughters are coming up next week. I haven't met them yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
See,
so
you
that's gonna
got
be-
girls. You lucky.
Yeah. I'll take it.
I mean, I love my grandson, but if he was a little girl, that'd be even more awesomer.
Right.
That's my little buddy, though. That's my little ride or die.
Right. Well, so that your story is like there's a lot of pain and a lot of just going through it in your story. So when we met, you had just written a book. So how did your growing up and coming into that situation relate to writing that first book, Superseded the Odds? Really great book. Check it out, by the way. It's on Amazon right now.
That book, it was more of me putting myself in where I wanted to reach anyone and everyone, that to let them know that even though you go through things in life, you can't give up. You can't give up. Superseded the odds. I went through so much, and the things that I went through, it was like I didn't supposed to be here. A lot of us in recovering alcoholics and addicts, we weren't supposed to be here, but we have a divine calling. So, therefore, Superseded the odds helped me to heal, do some healing. It helped me to heal because basically it's about how I started out in my addiction, and I also talked about when I went to treatment, how it was in treatment. In a treatment center. A lot of people don't have that resource about treatment centers, don't know anything about treatment centers. Everybody like, well, you can stop if you wanted to, but it's not that simple.
It's never that easy. It is never that easy. I hate when people say that too.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you just quit? Like, yeah, I know, right?
Right?
Like, why? Why don't I?
Give me that magic pill or whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
But it basically talk about how things are and what I went through as far as being in the recovery center. It gives you an overlook about how things operate in the center, the people that you meet in the center. It's like addiction does not have any type of classification. Anybody can be an addict, anybody, alcoholic, anybody. The drugs and
Does not
alcohol does not
discriminate.
discriminate.
Yes,
Does not
ma'am.
discriminate. It
Yeah.
doesn't discriminate with no age, gender, nothing. Your finance situation, nothing.
Yeah.
But I like how and then not just that about me going through the treatment center. Also, when I got out of the treatment center, it's what we call recovery houses. And I talked about, at one incident that I was in a recovery house, how people with different personalities,
Yeah.
and you have to learn, how to go along, how to know the difference, how to make healthy decisions and choices. Because being in the treatment center, I learned how to recognize my character defects. What's wrong with me? What do I need to fix about me? And not just that, then I can see other people's too.
Right.
And that was like a aha moment for me. And it's basically about that experience of addiction and going through the treatment center and the recovery houses that they have, around the world, here in Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. But the thing is, if you're willing to do it, you can do it. Because like we say in recovery isn't for those who want it. I mean, for those who need it, but for those who want it. So if you everybody might need it, but
Well, it's crazy how, my view of like addicts and alcoholics before I came into the program and like started, working the program is that, addicts and alcoholics, you can kind of put them off to the side. They're never going to do anything. Don't worry about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I put myself in that class of citizens, right? Like I'm just a loser. I'm just, and drugs and alcohol, they beat you down like that mentally and emotionally. Like I started believing that I was a piece of shit, believing that I was a loser. And so, the reason for the whole podcast is like, I found a way out, and how I found it was listening to somebody else. And now look what we can do. And now I own two businesses. You've written 2 books. You're a published author. You got your own place. You're taking care of your life. You're living your life. And I think showcasing that kind of stuff from homelessness to now you're a published author, that's a crazy, incredible story to me. And I think sharing that with the world, that's how I was saved. Hopefully somebody else will get this message and, figure something out for themselves. So how your writing style changed from Unforeseen Consequences or Superseded the Odds to this one. I'll say your writing style, it got more mature also. Like I really I enjoyed both the books, but I can tell that you put a lot more thought and effort into this one. So you want to tell the audience about Unforeseen Consequences? How did it come about? Why did you write it? Who's it about? What's going on with this book, Felicia?
Okay, Unforeseen Consequences is about a character. Her name is Sheila. And Sheila basically is talking about her growing up, how she grew up, and the things that she got herself involved as far as relationship. The things she tried to do as far as how she tried to financially take care of her daughter because she had no one. How the father of her child, she found out, later on that he was using drugs. She didn't know anything about drugs. Sheila was just, naive to anything about drugs.
Sounds familiar.
This is a story. It's not put like this. It's not a true story. It's based on true events. Okay, it's
Based on true events.
Based on true events.
Gotcha.
But that story, I took my time with this book, Unforeseen Consequences, because I wanted to open up a door that a lot of people would not like to open up.
Right.
People that want to keep them secret. It's part of my life. I don't want anybody to know about. So with Sheila is giving you a look into her life. So it's like you standing back and you're watching Sheila's life unfold. And she goes through a lot. And it's a lot of things that, she does things, but she doesn't feel like it's any consequences. How we do
She's resilient. Like bad things happen in her life, and she finds a way. Even though it's kind of rough and hard for her to get through, she always finds a way. I found that very resilient about Sheila, the character.
She's like a cat. She land on her feet.
Yeah, I like that. I really enjoyed that.
She land on her feet. But the thing is, the consequences. She doesn't realize there's consequences.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the unforeseen consequences behind her action. She'll go out and do these things, put herself in these situations, but she doesn't think about the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like acting spontaneously. She just jump out there. I got to do this, so let me do this, and not thinking about the consequences. So it's more like I said, unforeseen consequences that's got her into places. Her last episode got her in a place where she's going to have to make a decision.
Yeah, it ended really excitingly. I don't want to give it away, but now I have to wait, I guess.
I told you I had a little surprise for you at the end.
I guess I have to wait. What, another year or two now?
Yeah, I got to.
When's the next one coming out?
Let it marinate.
Yeah, that was really good. And I really liked all the experience and hope that you shared at the end of the book. That's something new that I've never seen. You want to tell my audience about that?
Yeah. In the back of the book, I share some information that I felt like was vital, to me and to someone else, someone that might be their family members who might be reading this book, who can read this book and see it in the back, like, for instance, being homelessness. It's called like the conclusion, like reflections.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like this will open up a few doors for people to understand what if a person feels like when they feel shame, guilt, and remorse. Mm-hmm. What's going through their mind when they feel suicidal.
It's vulnerable too. You're being vulnerable in the book, just like you are with me. We're on a podcast, and I think that is like the key. Showing that you can be vulnerable to a person that feels like they can't gives them permission to be vulnerable. So I think that's really great that you did it. It's really embarrassing. I do it a lot too. Like I'll embarrass myself if it will help you, if what I have to say might help you. Like I don't care about my embarrassment. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I really love that you put that in the back. That's some really good wisdom in the back of the book.
Yeah. And then also, pride. Right. I don't have any pride.
Right.
I don't have any, because if I can help someone, I don't have any. Because one person made a statement saying, well, you're saying too much. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reach someone to let them know there is hope. Reach someone, let them know it's okay. You're not alone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reach that person.
And if you keep it all in, you keep all that stuff to yourself, you're not helping anybody.
Right, exactly.
That becomes selfish,
But see, that becomes selfish, and it also becomes a prideful thing.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm so prideful. I don't want nobody to know this. I don't have any pride.
Yeah.
I don't have any secrets. I don't have any pride.
Right.
So, oh, no. I know. So
yeah. So, have you started another book yet, or you're gonna keep everyone waiting? What's going on?
Right now, I'm taking a course to get certified in my North Carolina drug and alcohol counseling.
Okay.
So right now, I'm in the midst of doing that. But
you can become a peer counselor?
I am a peer counselor.
You are a peer counselor. Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh. But now I want to go ahead and get my drug and alcohol substance abuse license.
Okay, there we go.
For a counselor.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
So I feel like that'll go hand in hand with me writing and that. So I want to basically just stay in this field where I can help someone, Chris. I always told myself, I want to make a difference in somebody's life. Mm-hmm. I want to be that person to say, yeah, she helped me. Yeah, I listened to her. Or yeah, I like her stuff. I want to be that person to try to make a difference in somebody's life because somebody made a difference in mine. So I want to do the same. I want to give back and reach as many people as I can. I know I can't save the world. Like my grandma used to call me. She used to call me Joan of Arc because I would try to save all the kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And getting whippings and stuff. I was always, no, they didn't do it. No, I was a little Joan of Arc. And she kept saying, who's going to save you when it's time for you? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
They will. I was a little Joan of Arc. So
that's awesome.
I guess I'm still that little Joan of Arc. It's a little older.
Yeah.
But I just want to reach people and help people because my cousin, I talked to her and her facility wanted to get some of my books and put them in a treatment center because, in a treatment center,
yeah,
you can only read anything that's like recovery related.
Right.
So they're going to get some of my books and
that's cool.
Get them in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Treatment center. I'm like, okay.
Whatever. Yeah. Anywhere.
So, I mean, that's my targeted audience. I want to try to get the institutions, the treatment centers, and these high school kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Because in here, it also tells you about when Sheila goes through high school, how she is being bullied by a person. So, I mean, she stands up to a bully. I'm sorry, she stands up to a bully for somebody, one of her friends. So, with that said, you know, all this bullying that's going around in schools now. So, I feel like this book, it has a bigger audience than the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It has
awesome.
a bigger audience.
Well, where can everyone find it, Felicia? Unforeseen
You
Consequences.
can find Unforeseen Consequences at Amazon.com. Woo woo.
Oh, there it is. I got an autograph though.
Oh, okay.
Do you?
Ooh, Chris.
So Amazon.com, you can find Unforeseen Consequences. Where can people find you? Do you have a Facebook or Instagram?
Facebook, Felicia Covington.
All right.
So you can find me there. You can inbox me there.
You have
I can
TikTok?
send you out a copy. No problem.
You have TikTok also?
TikTok, yes. I'm on the TikTok.
You're on the Ticks and the Talks?
I'm on the TikTok.
Well, good. You know what I'll do when I put this together? I'll put links in all the in the description so everyone can find you.
Yeah,
But
I got someone. She's promoted my book on Amazon, TikTok.
nice.
Flavor lemonade. I never heard of lemonade.
Lemonade. It's another TikTok.
So, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I'm here to help you as much as I can and wherever I can, Felicia. And I really enjoyed the book. Thank you very much for doing the podcast again on Almost Above Average. I'm sure we'll be doing it again soon.
Man, I love Chris. Keep doing the material that you putting out. I'm loving it.
Thank you for tuning into this powerful episode of Almost Above Average, where Felicia Covington was kind enough to share her inspiring journey from hardships to healing, resilience, and advocacy. Her story reminds us of the strength found in vulnerability and the importance of community support. And if you found value in today's conversation, please subscribe to Almost Above Average so you never miss an episode. We'd also love it if you could leave us a 5-star review. It really helps us reach more people who need to hear these stories. And before you go, please don't forget to use code McMedia1 at checkout at buckedup.com for huge savings on all their fitness products, perfect for supporting your own journey of strength and recovery. Thanks again for listening. Stay resilient, and we'll catch up with you on the next time on Almost Above Average. Peace.